Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 1st. I will call our meeting to order at 9 a.m. and I'll ask everyone to stand for the singing of the national anthem. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this morning?
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members of council. Administration has no additions today.
Anything from council? Is there a member of council that would like to approve the agenda for the April 1st, 2026 regular meeting of council minutes? Councillor Brooks, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. Any corrections or amendments to the March 18th, 2026 regular meeting of council minutes? Is there a member of council that would like to approve those? Councillor Jeffrey, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. We have no proclamations, no public hearings. We have one delegation this morning from the RCMP, Sergeant Ferry. This is for the stats this morning. Good morning and welcome. You can come to the podium or sit at the chair or whatever you would like. Well, we're happy to see you. You're a bit more famous than Ryan.
There we go. Absolutely prepared this morning and have reviewed all this stuff previously.
So we won't grill you with questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, there's 13% green, which means something.
Something good, right?
No,
Go.
so this is the stats, I guess, for January, February, previous years compared to where we're at for this past January, February, and we're seeing kind of a tracking 13% overall decrease criminal code offenses, which we like to see. Of note, there were some out of the persons crimes, a 39% decrease over last year. So persons crimes, that's good to see, but the property crime and theft of motor vehicle, break and enter, trending slightly upwards in that area. So, which was not unexpected because we did have a lot of theft of motor vehicles over the winter months there. So, yeah, so this could kind of that summary breaking down the theft of motor vehicles increase. That's what I noted when I reviewed this this morning. But the theft of motor vehicles, not surprised. There's that increase 22% when compared to the same period. It's actually 2 more occurrences than previous. So we're seeing it kind of still in that regular realm of what we tend to see with the stolen vehicles, but we were aware of the pattern that there was an increase in that stolen vehicles over that time period. However, as of 2 weeks ago, I want to say 2 weeks ago, there was that targeted enforcement of some offenders that we knew were doing this sort of stuff, and having put 2 people, they were arrested on warrants in possession of stolen vehicles as well. They were remanded, are still in remand, and we've seen a huge decrease just from those 2 individuals, or 3 individuals technically, going away. So that's also to be expected. We haven't seen any stolen vehicles in the past 2 weeks. However, we've seen a couple more attempts at it. So we're kind of like monitoring that. You know, it's just about targeted enforcement of the individuals who are responsible for that sort of stuff. Total persons crimes significantly down, which is always good to see, right? Because the persons crimes are probably the most important and involve violence that can be anywhere from domestic violence to minor assaults, including stuff that's sometimes reported into schools and stuff too among youth, right? It can still be scored as assaults. So when we see that trending down, I like to see that. I think the reports are still, people are still reporting these things. We're just seeing a decrease in reportable offenses, I suppose. So any questions on any of those specifics there?
Does anyone have any questions? I do have just a couple. I know that you had mentioned the prolific offenders, which is fantastic to hear that 3 individuals have been arrested and we're seeing that decrease, so that's great. The total person crimes, I know last year it was just climbing, and it was probably the highest that I think that I can ever recall. So we're seeing a significant decrease now just from January to March, is that?
Yeah, January and February of this year, significant decrease compared to last year's
year.
January, same period. So that could be any number of things influencing
Reasons.
that. Persons crimes are hard to track as far as proactive work goes because it's usually something that's happening, it's reported to us after it's happened. And so I don't know if this is just overall awareness and presence, like including the schools. Like we used to see higher amounts of assaults or fighting and stuff in schools
wow.
and stuff like that. But then we have an SRO in the schools. Now we have an SRO doing quite some time in the Catholic schools as well. So potentially just presence is kind of mitigating some of that. The other thing would be enforcement of conditions. So when we have domestic offenders who tend to have a pattern of domestic violence, I think we've increased a lot of our enforcement of offenders that are out. So if they're on conditions not to have contact with their ex-spouse
Yeah.
or the victim of that domestic, or they're not supposed to be living at that residence, we've really leaned into enforcing those conditions, checking, calling, checking, finding out, are they at the place they're supposed to be at? Are they breaching? So potentially that could be kind of a trend of we're enforcing a lot of these conditions, and so they're not
Yeah.
feeling comfortable to go back to that,
Situation,
that
yeah.
situation where those assaults could happen, potentially, right? So that's just kind of, and you can actually see, as far as enforcement goes, you can actually see that there's, I think it's on this.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because I know like it was becoming very worrisome when we were just kept going up and up and up with that. You did mention CSRO officer at Star Catholic now? I know
Yeah.
we had talked about it, so when did that come into effect?
That just came into effect for February.
Oh, perfect.
And it's still kind of being worked out. It's a part-time position, so
Okay.
it's a full-time officer who's regular general duty here, and she's taking those overtime shifts in the schools.
Oh, good.
So it's kind of a part-time funded position. However, she's also getting into the school on her regular shift all the time. So we're just seeing a good increase in that presence in the schools, which we're really,
Yeah.
really happy with. I know they're very pleased with. And already seeing some good results as far as things being reported to her at the school, and we're generating files from it. So, which is good because the kids are seeing an officer and they feel like they trust them enough to report things. And so we've seen a slight increase in the amount of files that are coming from the schools, but that's overall a good thing, I suppose. I think it's on this slide here. Yeah, so this slide here, you'll see kind of down in possession of, does this have a pointer on it? I don't know. Yeah. There's second columns down in the middle of the columns, you'll see a possession stolen goods with a 600% increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to draw your attention to those big spikes in numbers there. That's actually something that I really like to see, because, so you see 14, so 2026, we have 14 files where possession of stolen goods was scored, as opposed to last year, there was only 2 during the same time period. So possession of stolen goods is something that we generally only find when we proactively catch people.
Oh, yeah.
So we like to see that number go up. And it's interesting to see that the thefts under have gone down, and then we're catching people with the stolen goods. So that's typically something like catching people with stolen vehicles or catching people with stolen property that's easily identifiable. So something, a high value item that we can identify. So stolen trailers, vehicles and equipment, stuff like that. So if I see that trending upwards, that's in line with, we realized there was a problem with a lot of stolen vehicles in town, and then we started targeting those people and trying to find them, and then we locate and charge them in possession of things. We like to see that. To me, that just means the guys and girls are out there on the street looking for these things and finding it, which is good.
So on that, I think it's on that same page, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's the next one where it says Drayton Valley Municipal Detachment Crime Stats, February 2022 to 2026. When you look at mischief, other, it says 650%.
On
Is that
this-
kind of that increase and then
I'm
page
just
12, I think? Do you have page 12?
Oh, on the that would be the next slide, would it not?
Was it the next one? Okay. Did you see that? Oh, page 10, okay.
Oh, okay, we can get to that one as well. I think so I'll cruise through this one first, just so I can stay in line here, because my pages.
I don't want to mess you up. Okay, we'll go page 11.
Yeah. So looking through this one as well, draw your eye to one of the big ones that pops out is total municipal. And you see that 1,300%
Oh, yeah.
increase. So that's we've gone from last year, there's maybe just one municipal, and if you just look just above that, it says municipal bylaws, 14. So that's just, last year, there was one bylaw ticket issued during this time. This year, we're seeing 14 issued. So we're seeing this huge spike. And I actually, having reviewed a couple, it would appear that a majority of these bylaw ones are from the fighting in public bylaw ticket, which is good to see because that's actually mainly coming from our SRO as well. So when we're seeing incidents that don't happen necessarily in the school, but they might happen at a skate park or something just off school property, but it's a town bylaw that's really helping.
Okay.
Because where you used to be, okay, there's kids fighting, maybe it's not a criminal assault because it's a consensual fight and it's minor, but there's a whole group of kids involved, it's a disturbance. It's not something that used to go with a criminal charge, but there was no real teeth to deal with it.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing, now there's a fighting in bylaw, like a fighting in public bylaw, you're disturbing the public area. It's so we're seeing him issue those tickets, and really effective. So I'm actually kind of pleased to see that one too, because it's something that he's able to use very effectively, and having just talked to him about it this morning, that seems to be one of those directions he goes, and it keeps those kids kind of out of the criminal court system where it might not have been the right place for them to be, but it still gives some teeth and some consequences. And so I like to see that one as well. On this slide, I didn't know if there was any, I didn't see anything overall. There's a lot of stuff trending downwards. The numbers are all generally in line with, I noticed federal liquor, cannabis, mental health, and other provincial stats. They're all trending generally in the same. Mental health act is up, which we've kind of addressed. We've seen that mental health consistently going
Up
higher
and up.
higher and
Yeah.
higher. And I think that's been talked about by Ryan previously at these meetings. It's something we're all well aware of. So it's by far what we spend our most time on in town.
Yeah, we were just at the Spring Leaders Caucus, and K-Division had presented in one of the sessions, and they were saying, like, straight across the board, we're seeing like an 80%, I think they said, of cases are mental health, and it's, how do we address that, right? How do we support that?
Or some aspect of mental
Or some,
health.
yeah.
Even though there's some criminal, it seems to consistently have that trend of going upwards. So worrisome and definitely being talked about at kind of the highest levels of how to deal with that, and resourcing with Alberta Health is definitely one of those components there. So, but generally speaking, the numbers for federal enforcement, Liquor Act, cannabis, drug enforcement and such are all generally in line with what we've seen tracking over the previous years. Haven't seen any major spikes in that. This one would have the one with the mischief that we were looking at, right? Yeah, so this is the slide where there's that mischief 650% over, so that would be over the period from 2022 to 2026. So since last year, we've seen 25% increase. Over the course of 2022 to 2026, you see that there was only 2 in 2022, 8 in 2023, and then 24, 25, 26 have all been around that 12, 15. So we're seeing a lot of mischief other. Mischief damage to property is just above that. And we see that there was that high point there in 2023, but the numbers are consistently around 5, 4, and 6. You'll see like it's like the numbers are pretty consistent for damage to property. I would say that's consistent with what we're seeing on a month-to-month. People damage property, whether it be a domestic dispute or it could be a dispute out in front of the bar where somebody punches the mirror off a car or some sort of disturbance like that. That would be a mischief, right? So the damaged property, or somebody's broken something at someone's house or their own house, but it's their significant other's property, stuff like that. Those are pretty consistent numbers. The 650 over the 5 years is mischief other. Mischief other isn't necessarily a damaging to property. That's a scoring that we use, and it could be as simple as just obstructing the lawful enjoyment of a property. So that could be scoring of, say, somebody was to sleep in the vestibule of an apartment building, or be bugging people at a business, outside of a business, interacting with people who are trying to lawfully enjoy the property or lawfully enter and do their business. So that trend upwards, you'll see that over the past couple years, over the past 3 years, I'd say that's gone up into the consistent teens, right? As it used to be only 2 or 8, now it's 12, 15 this past year. We're seeing that more interaction and more scoring too. We also used to potentially score that differently. We used to score things as cause disturbance. Now we're more consistently scoring it as a mischief. So some of that's to do with just our own, how we score those files. But mischief other is not necessarily actually things getting damaged. It's us attending a call to sometimes move people along or provide other options for them. And yeah, this one as well gives kind of overview of that. This one has the municipal bylaws on it as well. This gives the overview of common police activities at the end there as well, where false alarms and 911 calls. I've definitely noted of interest. I've noted an increase in false or abandoned 911 calls. It seems to be a trend upwards. I don't know if that's to do with automated 911 now, or phones being able to dial 911 because somebody's pressed an emergency button or something like that. So I think as technology increases, we're seeing things like that go up. Alarms as well. It's not abnormal to see we're getting more alarms as technology increases and more people have access to them, and they automatically dispatch. So And those are just the common activities. I think we've touched on municipal bylaws already. Roadside suspensions for alcohol. It's consistent numbers over the winter as well. It says 100% increase, but that's just 2 as opposed to 1. So like we're still seeing consistent numbers over on a month-to-month basis of that. Yeah, that's about it. Do you have questions or comments for me, or that I can get back to Ryan with? Yeah.
Sure. Any other questions, Councillor Wheeler?
Good morning. Thank you for coming. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
I have a question not about the stats, but just in general, that we have you here.
Yeah.
How would you say Drayton is doing with traffic and accidents, or where are issue areas in town, or what are you guys kind of seeing for any of those?
So I don't have the stats of I haven't reviewed the stats of all the vehicle collisions and stuff, but I have noted the ticketing is consistent or higher than normal. Like there's a lot of enforcement going on. But the enforcement that we're seeing, the ticketing that we're seeing getting laid by our officers, I know there's also the bylaw officers and CPOs who do a lot of traffic enforcement in town, which is good because we're able to actually focus on more stuff when they deal with a lot of the traffic enforcement. But the tickets I've seen come across and going into court from us, it seems to be in the right, it's focused on the right things. We're seeing a lot of speed enforcement, dangerous driving enforcement, stuff like that that's actually should be focused on by our guys and girls. I haven't noted any hot spots, if you will, for collisions. And that would be something that I could actually delve into and analyze more and get somebody to actually map out where our high collision spots are. I don't think we've noted any particular spots. I know we've been happy with the dangerous driving stunting stuff. We've been happy with that being addressed. Like the Omniplex, for example, how that used to be one of the hot spots for this dangerous driving stunting stuff. And then just through environmental design by the town, it's almost completely dealt with that particular issue just by putting those environmental pieces in play, like those in the parking lot, right? So raised curbs and stuff like that, making it difficult to do that. The intersection-related offenses, I could definitely delve into that and maybe get something back to you guys to see if we have identified a hotspot. I don't think in particular we have. We've got more serious collisions happening in the county. Makes sense, because that's where the high speeds are, and that's where the highways are, and much more commercial traffic, so, yeah.
I just think it's good for us to be aware as we're making decisions about the community, or we're talking about projects coming up. We might be repaving 43rd Avenue, and if you're like, we have accident after accident there.
Yeah.
If for us, it makes a difference to think, well, then maybe we should look at some traffic calming measures or different pieces, or there's no trouble at all, let's speed it up, right? There's
Increase
there's lots
the
of
speed.
options. I just like to know what's.
Cheryl's all about increasing the speed, so let us know what the area is.
Yeah.
We will, I definitely get back to you with identifying particular problem areas and speed zones, stuff like that, if you will.
And there
Or-
might not be many, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm not
If we-
looking for a problem. It's just like, if you're like, oh yeah, we got to call again. It's every month we're getting called to this spot because of that.
yeah.
I just want to be aware, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Like the Ring Road even, because I think we're going to be having a conversation later today, or it might even be next week, about, we did change the speed limit along there. Have you seen an impact there? Have you seen changes? Is it still kind of a hot spot for people speeding?
It's, there's this, I could say a speed zone for sure, like as
Yeah.
far as consistently being patrolled and seeing consistent tickets come out of that area.
Out of that
for sure.
area.
It does make sense that that's where it's easier to speed on those,
Yeah.
on those roads, and it's the only road in town that's more like a county road, than
Yeah.
this, so not surprising, but I can get back to you with some stats on that. That's a good idea for sure.
Councillor Clark, do you have a question?
So what you're saying is raise it to 100 on the ring road? Get rid of the.
I think I heard put in speed bumps.
Yeah, that would be something to definitely look at too. I can get actual stats on the ring road itself and see what the actual speeds are too.
Yeah.
That would be something that wouldn't be too hard to see where, like what tickets have been laid on the ring road and what the speeds were, what the average speed was. And if those average speeds are all in one realm that was actually more reasonable, like get back to you. Yeah, for sure.
And do you get, like, I know our bylaw officer in the town will get complaints or have in the past got complaints because kids are crossing from particularly River Ravine, like for school and stuff. Do you get a lot of calls of safety concerns with kids walking there?
Interestingly, we didn't get a lot of, I think one in particular was 50th and 43rd.
Yeah.
We did not get any calls about that particular intersection. And yet it was brought to our attention through social media that was a huge problem.
Right.
But we weren't actually receiving any calls. So we did, I mean, even just having it brought to our attention on social media, we did put more visibility there. I know I myself at one point was just like, well, we'll just park here and do some paperwork
Yeah.
and see what's going on. And sometimes visibility is all it needs to just cut it down. But we hadn't seen any complaints or charges coming from that particular intersection. So if we don't know about it, if people aren't reporting it at the time, it's harder for us to actually follow up and lay charges. So
Yeah, I know we had received letters and complaints and it came to the town, right? And then that's where we put in the crosswalk there, and then I think there was another area further down, but there was also concern because of the kids walking with school, right?
Yes,
Or like
yes.
for phys ed, I guess.
yes, yeah. I think I should have actually brought the numbers from our APP from the annual report of our school zone patrols. I should have brought those numbers today. That would have made
That's okay.
sense. But we have, so since I started last February, so for a year now, we've been tracking our actual school zone patrols as part of our APP and reporting on that. And then we're tracking other patrols for the county as well, for like rural communities and stuff. I think I did the numbers the other day, and they were in the realm of, I think, it might have jumped from over the past couple of months during the winter. It was consistently around maybe 30-ish a month. But then it significantly jumped over the past, over February. It significantly jumped where there was it was almost double the amount of school patrols that were being documented by our
wow, yeah.
officers. And so, yeah, we like to see that. It's during the school year, there's a lot more school zone patrols, obviously, and that's just targeted, visible enforcement or driving up and down the school zone or parking in the school zone. And we're only tracking that. We're not tracking the time that our SRO is spending in the school zones. We're just tracking our general duty officers. So our SRO is in the school zone every day, or
Yeah.
a school zone every day for sure, and spends a lot of time in that area. But something we could definitely delve into and see.
Yeah,
what sort
sure.
of
And
enforcement was
thank you,
coming
we
out of that.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Counselor Jeffrey?
Hi. I see a comment there about victim service unit on page 9 at the bottom. There's some stats.
Very helpful because my pages are not numbered.
Oh, great. Right.
Oh,
it's,
this one up there.
Right there at the bottom
Oh,
of
there
that
we go,
page.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just curious about whether the numbers are typical that are in that there.
I would imagine so. I don't have the totals. Yeah, I haven't reviewed the totals of
Okay.
victim services files, referral scoring, or specifically what were accepted and what were
Okay,
declined.
that's
So
kind of
that
what
would
I'm
be
curious
the,
about. 32 declined. What would be a reason for declining a request?
it's all, the victim services referrals are much more, we've gotten those numbers way more consistent over the past couple of years because they're being scored properly now. There's more mandatory reporting too, where we actually, every file involving a person's crime, it has to have victim services referral on it, has to have that scoring. So those numbers are way up. But as far as those victims accepting the victim services or following up on the victim services referral, that might
Oh, that refers to
the victim themselves. So when it says 32
Okay.
declined, that would be
Okay.
it being offered and the person
Thank you.
themselves saying. "No, thank
Declining,
you."
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, you did a fantastic job
I will let
today.
Ryan know.
You can tell Ryan that you did a better job than he would have done if he would have came.
I was just gonna say, I was like, maybe I'll just come in and show them pictures of the
Puppies.
Yeah, yeah.
Puppies and deer.
No one's letting them.
Puppies and deer, yeah.
Happy to report, no deer.
Yeah, how
issues
was
in
the deer
past- yeah.
situation?
Still haven't located that deer, so.
Okay.
We'll be on it, but, yeah.
Come to my house, you can have.
Yeah, right? Well, thank you very much. We appreciate
very
you coming in. Keep up the great work. And yeah, you guys are doing a great job, so thank you. Okay, take care. So that wraps up our delegations this morning. We'll jump right into our decision items. We have two of those this morning. First up is 8.1, which is the interim CAO appointment. And this is for me this morning. Typically, I'm not reading these requests for decisions, so I'll go ahead and read this. So part of the Municipal Government Act stipulates that council must approve a person to carry out the powers, duties, and functions of the position of the Chief Administrative Officer. The appointment of an interim CAO serves as both a statutory requirement and a measure to support organizational stability. So after the review of internal and external staffing options, Ms. Jennifer Stone has been identified as the preferred candidate to assume the role as interim CAO, while council undertakes a recruitment process to hire a permanent CAO for the town of Drayton Valley. So we're very grateful for Ms. Stone stepping into this position to provide consistent leadership during the recruitment process and to help support all of the team in the organization. So with that, are there any questions for myself or Ms. Stone before we proceed towards the motion? Is there a member of council that would like to make the motion this morning? Deputy Wheeler? I've seen hands from both sides there.
Thank you. I move that council appoint Jennifer Stone as the interim Chief Administrative Officer for the town of Drayton Valley, effective April 1st, 2026, pursuant to Section 205 of the Municipal Government Act, and further that the mayor be authorized to execute the interim CAO employment agreement on behalf of the town.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? No. I would like to just say thank you again to Ms. Stone. I know that you've been the acting CAO for a couple weeks or a few weeks now. I didn't realize that it's been 4 weeks already. So, we're very appreciative of the efforts in you taking on this role. We've been, as we maneuver some challenging phases of the organization. So we really appreciate it and welcome everything that you've done. So with that being said, there's a motion on the floor, and I will now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And welcome once again, and thank you. Next up on the decision items this morning is 8.2. This is the 2026 final operating budget. And this is Miss Elvira Thompson. Good morning and welcome. Welcome back.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
I'm
And
happy
we
to be
certainly
back.
appreciate you coming and spending the morning with us
Yes.
too. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. All right. You know what? I realized I don't have the motion in front of me. I was busy playing around with numbers.
Do we
Just
have the
give me-
motion? Oh,
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I'll just read my little blurb and then we can have a quick discussions on
Sure.
my email the other day. Sometimes I do. I always like to get the MGA sections correct. Pursuant to the Municipal Government Act, Section 242(1), council must adopt an operating budget for each calendar year. Accordingly, the proposed 2026 final operating budget is presented for council's consideration. Administration presents the attached 2026 final operating budget for council's consideration and adoption. The budget presented for approval was deliberated during the interim budget deliberations in November of 2025 and again on March 19th, 2026. Due to projected increases in assessments and subsequent tax revenues, the 2026 budget was able to be accomplished with no increases in rates. Council's priorities include maintaining excellent service levels, infrastructure planning, and fiscal responsibility. As such, the 2026 operating budget was created to accommodate those priorities. This will include completing critical repairs to maintain town assets and transferring money to reserves for future infrastructure replacements. So the budget presented is the one we deliberated on March 19th, along with multiple changes that we went over. And the only thing that changed since then, and I sent an email out to council, and I want to sincerely apologize for that oversight on my part. It turns out when I went to work on the mill rate spreadsheet, that the requisition increases were not pulling in correctly. And so that's why I wanted to update council before today, so it wasn't a surprise today. There was also, so the education requisitions are increasing by $323,000. That's for the public and Catholic school combined. We also got, since then, since budget deliberations, we got the seniors Bresley Foundation requisition, and that's actually decreasing by about $10,000. So their rates are, yeah, I have not had a chance to talk to Denise about, like, you know, how that's possible, really. But that's what they sent us. So with that all in mind, the updated rates are 0% increase in rates to residential and a, 2.37% decrease in non-residential rates.
2.37, non-residential?
I just want to make sure that council understands that there are some minor changes that will still happen, because we're, whenever we calculate the mill rate, so we have to take into consideration, the province will send us information on what their designated industrial rate is and all that kind of stuff, as well as we have to still take into consideration the over and under levies. What that means is that last year in 2025, there was multiple reassessments. So we had already requisitioned or flowed the requisitions from the government through those properties. And when they decrease, it creates an over and under effect. And we just put that over or under that we've collected on behalf of the province or our seniors, we then have to roll that in through the next year. It's usually $10,000 or less overall, so it has a very minor impact. But just keep that in mind when you're talking 2.37% exactly, because that could be slightly different. The overall impact in terms of dollars would be minimal, but yes. And we also have the county's rates to consider once they pass their mill rate bylaw. So I just want to make sure that we know that we're talking about it, and we're also talking average. So we're also talking averages across. Some other things to highlight, the industrial assessments went down, and the other non-residentials went up, averaging out. We talked about during wow, I can use words. During the interim budget deliberations, we had expected there to be no change or very little change in assessments. And what ended up happening is the industrial specifically went down, and the non-residential like the commercial, went up. So that's why we're talking non-residential, we're not talking industrial in this specific situation. All that said, this is very, very close to what the mill rates will come in at once we do the bylaw. I did make sure that one of the motions has an option for council to make a change if they wish. So if council wishes to, we'd kind of went back and forth on potentially decreasing the CAO contingency, not my personal recommendation, but I do understand that council wishes to adjust the rates a little bit to bring the non-residential and residential closer together. So the option is, if some of the spending that's planned that wasn't budgeted for can come from the CAO contingency rather than being budgeted for on top of it, that's an option for council if they wish to make that motion. And I will answer any questions that you might have, and if not, then we will ask somebody to read the motion with all the big numbers.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions for Ms. Thompson this morning? Go ahead, Councillor Brooks.
So yeah, just, I got the 2.37 reduction in the residential rate. What was the non-residential rate?
Sorry, the residential will be 0. We'll just leave that, and we'll
Okay.
do the entire decrease on the non-residential will be at 2.37. That's
Oh,
the
gotcha.
non-residential.
I just
Yeah.
had it reversed. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I was like, I thought it was going to be a 0.
Yes, correct. I don't know, maybe I said it wrong, I'm not sure. Okay,
So yeah, 0% residential, 2.37 non-residential, right?
Yeah.
correct. That's in rates.
That's in rates, yes, that's in rates. So we need to remember that municipal tax rate will be set in May. That's following the receipt and review of the property assessments.
And then the only other thing was on page 21, slightly lower than the center of that right column. It says administration was able to increase reserve transfers with a minimal increase in tax rates. Is that just I don't know.
That might be a blunder on our part. Thank you for
Okay.
catching
Can you
that.
say
No, I
that
just-
again?
So it says on page 21, administration was able to increase reserve transfers with a minimal increase in tax rates. And I was like, I thought we weren't increasing
Yeah,
taxes.
you're
So-
right. I will make sure that
Okay.
we make that change before it's posted on the World Wide Web
Very good.
later this week.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess it's already out, but the one that goes on our website, we'll make sure to make that change. Thank you.
And with that, also, our reserves increased by $250,000, is that?
Approximately, but I know it is around there, but I can give you the exact amount. Reserves, yes,
Yeah,
just a few dollars short of 250,000.
okay, perfect. Councillor Finn?
Sorry, thanks. Just one other question. RCMP costs went up significantly too. I was just trying to find, it was over 200,000 again as well, right?
241,000,
Wow, okay,
9.31%.
wow, okay.
So with that, did you have another question? And with that was, yeah, the increases to RCMP, insurance, wages, utilities,
Trucking costs was a
Trucking
big one
costs,
for snow
yeah.
removal.
firefighters, then we've seen that decrease in repairs and wages and things like that. Yeah, does anybody else have any final questions? Go ahead, Councillor Clark, and then Councillor Brooks, do you have a question after?
Yeah, just with respect to this school and seniors requisition, so 4.512 is what it's going to be for this coming year. You know, I think, like, I don't recollect seeing kind of in the municipal budget final, kind of the explanation guide, let's call it that, that the requisitions are really keyed on in there, because I think one of the things that people are worried about is overall tax increase, and they see this overall tax increase, and of course, that 4.5 million is a pretty big dent in that. So I guess I'm wondering if, should there be any more focus placed on that in terms of, this is totally out of our control, our job is to collect it, flow it out. Does not stay with the town in terms of where it goes and how it's spent.
And you're saying in communications, like, yeah, to be very clear, yeah.
Yes, I do. I do think it is important. It's important for people to understand. I'll work with Ms. Stone on gathering like the key numbers and the data that we usually release. We usually do like a 1 or 2 pager, and we do try to highlight that, but potentially we could do it in a different way that highlights more, you know, how much, that's a significant portion of our total tax revenues that goes right out the door. It doesn't stay here. So, but I do agree. I do think that we should place focus on that because it's entirely out of our control. We're just requisitioning it on these organizations' behalf. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's very important, a point to bring up, and that it needs to be very clearly, communicated to the residents.
Yeah, and I mean, whether that's a percentage or an actual dollar value of whatever, right? I think it's important for people to understand that this is coming out of my pocket, not necessarily staying here, right?
Yeah, it's not going to our roads or anything, or parks or nothing here. Yeah.
Yeah. Councillor Brooks?
Thank you. Only other question I had was, might not be within your purview, but on page 53, which is page 36 of the budget here, we have, under planning and economic development, are we currently using a contractor, or we're planning to use a contractor?
We're currently using contractor.
Can I ask who it is? Or is that any of our business?
I know who it is, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's,
I don't know if we can say,
I don't see why not.
yeah?
I believe it to be V3.
Yeah.
V3, okay. I'll just. Okay, I think that's it. Is that supposed, how do I put this? Do we plan on contracting long-term, or is this more of like until we have a planner, or is it, it's certainly kinder to the budget, but
Yeah, well, the tricky thing with planning, the planning department, is finding the right level of skill that we need, that we're not. So with a town our size, we've gone through periods of time where we have like the most qualified, and then we pay them as such. We might not have that much work, and then we change everything. We get rid of that strategy, we contract for a bit, and we go back and forth. I guess the point is, it depends on the CEO and what they think is the best, essentially gets us the best bang for our buck. I think the thinking here was that we don't have enough of that type of work that we need a full-time planner. But I do think at the end of the day, I don't know that we saved a ton of money with that strategy in 2025, with how much we did end up contracting. So a new CAO that could come in could very well say, hey, this doesn't make sense, and change it. And I don't know enough about planning to have really an opinion one way or the other. So I guess that's the extremely vague answer that I have for you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Finn, did you have your hand up? Oh, you didn't, okay. Any other questions? Is there a councillor that would like to make a motion this morning? Don't all put your hands up. Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Clear your
All right,
throat,
settle
have a
in
drink.
here. Okay, I will make the motion that council approve the proposed 2026 final operating budget as presented for the town of Drayton Valley with the below operating revenues of $18,342,679, taxes gross of $18,769,424, school and seniors requisitions of $4,512,043, transfers from reserves of $110,000 for a total revenue of $32,710,060, and an operating expenditures of $37,906,729, with depreciation of $7,614,292, with debt repayment of $1,415,447, transfers to reserves of $1,002,176, for total expenditures of $32,710,060.
Thank you very much for that. Very well done. Any comments, question, debate on the motion? I'll just make a comment. Thank you very much to Ms. Thompson and the whole team for putting together such a strong budget. I know that we're in a position for a strong year ahead. So thank you. I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into this, so we appreciate it greatly. I think that this budget reflects our priorities, our commitment to the residents, and it focuses on delivering the services that our residents rely on and expect from the town. So greatly appreciate it to you and everyone in the team. So a big thank you. With that being said, if there's no further comment, question, debate, then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried, and that wraps up where did my thing go? The final operating budget. So thank you very much. I know you're going to stick around for a little bit. Maybe we'll jump quickly into council reports. Councillor Boehm, you were up first.
Thank you very much. Yeah, not actually. A lot has happened since the last reports. On the 19th, we had our meeting to go over the budget, so that was a good time to kind of nail down some numbers and ask some questions as needed. And then on the 24th, I had, oh, no, that was the community priorities meeting. I guess, yeah, I came for that. Communities priorities meeting in just regards to what we wanted the RCMP to focus on for the next year. And so that was good to go through and kind of direct them to what we are hearing residents say needs to be fixed in this town. So that's great to hear.
Thank you very much for your report. Next up is Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. I still haven't put the my RMA report into digital copy to give to administration, but we had our recreation board meeting 2 days ago where we discussed the ice plant is eligible for the ACI grant, but it's only not-for-profits are able to apply for it. So the Drayton Valley Thunder are happy to apply. The DV100 is it's like preliminary planning stages. It's supposed to be on August 29th, and I guess we'll see what comes of that. We discussed cogeneration a little bit. Administration is looking into options, different gasification systems and that sort of thing. I should not say that. The ice is coming off on May 10th, and our next meeting is at 11 a.m. at the pool on April 27th, tentatively.
Thank you very much for that. Next up, Councillor Clark.
Ditto to all that, except I would like to add that during the rec board meeting, we chatted about the communication with the Community Foundation about pursuing the dome and their application. And the discussion around the table was just, have we chatted with them kind of in person about what that means, what that potentially looks like, what that is? And I think the answer was no. So I think the respective councils said, we'll take it back to our councils to just say, let's pick up the phone and chat with them. And just have a discussion about what their thoughts are around it, just to kind of gain a little more understanding of exactly what that looks like. So that's what we're bringing here, is to say we should pick up the phone.
Thank you very much for that. Next up, Councillor Jeffrey.
Good morning. I've been busy with two of the committees that I sit on, or the boards that I sit on behalf of council. The Brazeau Foundation, I've met a couple of times during the past couple weeks to try to address some concerns that have been expressed, so we'll perhaps need to address those later. Health Foundation, they had their regular board meeting. A couple interesting points came up. They're going to make a donation to support a request that came from ER for a ring cutter item that the cost is much higher than anybody would project, but that's good that they're taking care of that. Also, they're addressing some requests that are coming in from the cancer care unit, so those will be in the future. The SimLab invoice costs related to the foundation are coming in now, and so they'll be close to being able to address those, of about $150,000 donation, which is significant. The AGM for the Health Foundation is scheduled for June the 16th, and they're certainly going to invite everybody. I'll let everyone know the details about that. They are, as every other organization in town, looking for new board members. So if you know anybody that's interested, please pass on the word. They have got one new member. Leah Wood joined that board last week. So that's from those committees. I'd also like to give some kudos out. I was invited to do volunteer appreciation at the Shangri-La Lodge to be part of that event with the Popovich Comedy Country Show, which was entertaining to say the least. I enjoyed attending the RCMP open house and seeing the helicopter videos that they were showing, going over property, including mine, which was really interesting. EPAC, I attended 2 shows, the My Fair Lady, as many of the others around the table have. I also had the enjoyment of 6 Minute Warning on last Friday, which was an a cappella group that was amazing. Talent is unbelievable. The Friends of Medicare and the hospital tour yesterday, addressing the medical issues in our community was important. And last but not least, the AB Munis conference that I attended with 3 of my colleagues. And as Councillor Clark brought up during the budget conversation, a major point that I walked away and got was that, yes, we need to do a very good job of informing the public about how the property tax is divided between, or collection is divided between our town and the province, education, et cetera. So they came up with some great ideas there that perhaps we can collect and pass on to an admin. So thank you.
Thank you for your report. Councillor Finn.
Good morning. Yeah, so on the 18th, also attended Conversations with the Cop, really good conversations. So they had a town hall on the 18th in the town and a town hall in the county on the 19th. A little bit disappointed about the lack of turnout, but I think it was a really good conversation that we had. You know, they really wanted the community to bring their voice to the table and to help them set their priorities. So that was a great event. On the 19th, I actually attended State of the Region in Parkland County with Parkland County, Spruce Grove, and Stony Plain admins and mayors. Great event. They kicked it out of the, like, it was, yeah, awesome event. And it was just nice to kind of see what they're doing. And yeah, EPAC was on the 20th. We have a lot of local talent. That it was amazing. There's no way I can memorize that amount of lines for those shows. No way at all. Yeah, a meeting with RCMP on the 26th. I did attend the chamber meeting. They are getting geared up for their careers, creators, and community market on April 17th and the 18th. So it's a trade show, job fair, and market. So they're still looking for trade show booths, and they are looking for anyone seeking employment opportunities to share their employment opportunities with the community, hoping that's a successful event for them. It's going to be at the Mackenzie Center Curling Rink and Curling Rink Lounge, so it sounds like it's going to be a pretty big event. And then, yeah, yesterday was the hospital tour. Nice to see the updated X-ray is operating. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you very much for that. Deputy Wheeler.
Thank you. The last couple weeks have definitely been busy, yes. I started off with our budget meeting, and I think we went through as much as we possibly could to limit any projects that were looked at as maybe extras are not going to be happening this year. Try to keep things as low as possible. I think we always do, but I think our town also expects a level of service, and people can't sit there and complain about all the potholes and then say they don't want a tax increase. Those things cost money to fix, and so I think it's a balanced budget this year. I appreciate that, and admin's work, because they're the ones that are always saying, this is what we need to do, and then we're like, well, change it. So thank you. The EPAC shows, yes, the RCMP meetings with the community. We also met as council with the RCMP to discuss our priorities, and they really were receptive to what we're seeing and hearing in the community, so I think there's a really great relationship there, and I appreciate that a lot. I'm curious to see, like we asked this morning, what we'll kind of come back and forth with what they're seeing for concerns that we actually can have an effect over. I think it needs to be a two-way street. We're asking them to do a lot and protect our community, but if there's things that we can do, then I want to know what that is. So I attended MLC, which is our Municipal Leaders Caucus. And a big piece for me was the RCMP talking about their changes and how they do things. They talked about things like their turnover rates. The guys sitting on stage, of course, are the commanders, and they're like, we've been here for 20 years, like, but that's not normal. If we can get 5 years out of someone, they consider that a win, which is crazy. Like, it's a really high turnover in a high, intense job. They deal with people on the worst days of their life, like all the time. That's what they do. And so the workload is a lot on people, but they talked about a lot of good things too, and that they are appreciative of the people stepping up. They're recruiting, so if anyone wants to join. They did talk about the AI as well and the technology that they're starting to use, like with the body cameras, and whose responsibility is that? Who gets that information? Where do they store it? So there's a lot of pieces that I think we don't necessarily have those conversations because we have a contract with the RCMP, but the RCMP is dealing with those pieces, and to be aware of them makes a difference. And then the hospital tour was great to see the sim lab. So they have different groups from the colleges and universities that can come in and do the practice on the dummies, and they can make the dolls react to the situation so that all of a sudden they start coding or having trouble, and they got to figure out really what's going on. So I think the more training that our medical situation can have, the better. So yeah, overall, things are good. Oh, the other one thing I did appreciate was one of the towns shared that they do a myth versus fact. Kind of like a super short, just one liner simple, but it's like the myth versus fact is that the mayor controls everything. And so there's lots of
And that
people.
is true.
Right? Yeah. There's lots of people who don't know or think those things.
Along with the bus, yeah.
And so I was like, that would be a fun kind of communication piece to do, maybe some kind of a Mythbusters about municipal things that people assume, so.
Fun little facts, yeah.
Yeah, we can look into it. It's good. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you for your report. So for myself, we had an economic development meeting, which was great. Just some updates on the education portfolio and where we're going, just some of the ideas that came out of strat planning. So that was great because you have 7 counselors, and it's crazy that we all come in with a vision and priorities, but we ended up being on the same page. So that's fantastic to hear. I as well was on the hospital tour and the meetings with the temporary manager. We definitely have some advocacy to do when it comes to our hospital and the role that we can play in that. I attended Spring Leaders Caucus. It's always great. It's been nice to see over the last couple of years how they do the bear pit, and they have the ministers and the premier there, and they never used to do that. It used to be an RMA thing, so it's nice that they're kind of expanding, and it was very well attended, so it was nice to see. It was a good little event for sure. Also, the RCMP community priorities and the multi-year financial, just the draft. So thank you to Connor for joining us this year, and we'll slowly move into what that final looks like. So we really appreciate you joining us on that. I also attended Miss Joanne's My Fair Lady, and I just can't believe the talent and the opportunity for the arts that we have in our community. I was thinking the same thing, is how do they remember their lines? Like, that is extensive. So just a great performance. Thank you so much to Miss Joanne, the performers, the volunteers, like just everyone. Absolutely phenomenal that, we have that here in our little community. Also, again, along with Councillor Jeffrey, I attended the Friends of Healthcare or Science, and yeah, definitely an eye-opener. And again, we have, some definite issues when it comes to healthcare, and I think we have to increase. I know when we did strat planning that it was kind of a pillar of what is our role, how do we do it? But I think we have to be a loud voice and start kind of stirring up so we don't lose other potential opportunities here in our community that we have. And then I also attended with Councillor Finn, the Stony Plain State of Region at Stony Plain. It was a fantastic evening. It's great to see the 3 municipalities really come together and share, so much love for their area and just commitment to one another. They work so well together, and I am very fortunate that we are now included in that little group. And I just want to extend, a heartfelt thank you to Stony Plain, to their council, mayor, and to their administration for helping us as we transition through this period. They've been absolutely phenomenal. To have a municipality reach out and assist is just amazing. So thank you to them, and I look forward to the changes now that have happened with the regional boundaries, as well as that we're kind of right in there with Stony Plain now. So that's going to be really exciting, I think, for our area. I also attended the EPBR Wilderness on Tap at the Nodding Donkey, and that was great. It was just a reminder about the wildfires and the impacts, and they had 2 key speakers attend that night, so it was nice to listen to them and just to remind everybody about heading into spring, about Fire Smart and our role and everything like that again. And that wraps up my report. Before I end, I just want to say thank you again to everyone for the budget. It's been a a longer process than we've done in the past. We passed an interim in December, and then the final here today. So thank you again to everyone, and thank you to council. This has been your first budget as well, so you did a fantastic job and asked all the right questions, and just be happy with the budget that we're delivering. So you did a great job. I also want to wish everyone a happy Easter and a safe, long weekend. You'll have a few days off there. So with that being said, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion to accept council reports as information? Councillor Finn, thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Before we jump into council items this morning, I will call a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and jump into roundtable. Okay, perfect. We will reconvene our meeting at 10:16 a.m. And then we'll jump into our roundtable discussion. So maybe I'll start with what does everybody have? Has everyone been hearing what's been coming in? You go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey. You're up first.
Well, as I said, it's been a busy couple of weeks. I guess mostly I'm going to ask for updates on different things that have been happening. So I know that there's been work done on trying to find a location for the U of C nursing students, and so I haven't heard whether we've been successful there. This current status of the mobile trade unit, I understood that was sort of an end of March happening, so hopefully something has progressed there. And I can see that Troy's not here, so he perhaps is the one with that information. And all of us received a letter from the Brazeau Foundation regarding a concern and the work that, or the presentation that was made to us by the Rural Wealth Creation, and perhaps a misunderstanding. And again, I think that Troy was meeting yesterday, so hopefully there's some information related to that that could be shared.
What I can share with you is that Troy and I met with the Brazeau Foundation just to be a little bit more clear about what's going on, and that where council's priorities are, and that the Rural Wealth Creation is a local organization that had just sort of started organically. And I believe that they had a admin representation there before, and there's potentially a desire to carry on with that. And then just reaffirming our commitment with the foundation about what we had discussed back in December, and that we're still committed to working with them on their priorities as they dovetail with ours as well. So, but once Troy is back, he can probably give you more detail on that, but that's the outcome of that meeting.
All right. Because I think, I mean, they really are both important organizations. And of course, I'm sure others will ask questions about the Eldorado property and current status there. The Drayton Valley Community Foundation, their grant proposal, details, et cetera. Have we been able to make any progress on working on that?
That would be a Troy question again,
Okay,
and as
good
soon as
to
he's back, he can provide more detail.
Okay. Well, Jen, how about the? No, I don't think so. I think this one she can help us with. As I let you know, and again, everybody know that DVCS is asking about having a council rep on their board. So shall we talk about that one?
It's on GNP next week.
Is it? Okay,
So we do
perfect.
have several committees that we need to appoint. I think there's 4 or 5, so they'll be coming to the GNP meeting next week
Okay.
for appointment.
And so then a request that I would have, and I don't know when we can do it, we did do, I recall a presentation, I think it was in about December, regarding the rural renewal system update. And that presentation involved current status and reasons why we were setting dates and all of that. I wonder if we could review that. Again, I'm getting requests coming from individuals, and I'd just like to be able to
So the rural renewal stream?
yes, yeah.
I can provide some light detail on that.
Okay.
The program for 2026 is on pause because we've hit our limit for it. So at this time, we're not able to take on any new applications, and the team is continuing to engage with, they're getting a lot of questions, phone calls, people stopping in. So if you are receiving those, I'm happy to receive those from them and pass them on to the team. I think we had one last week or the week before, just to confirm, like, we did receive this and this is the response to it, because I know people are quite anxious about it.
All right, thank you. I just was wanting to make sure that we were firm on that. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Clark.
And just to be clear, I think there was, that quota, I believe, was set by the province now, right? So it's not the town saying, here's our cap, it's the province saying, here's the cap. And we've just hit that, okay?
Yes, that's correct.
Just a couple questions for Pat. So you said the U of C students, my understanding is they have a room. So what, is there something else that you have found out?
Okay, I'd been asked to help connect Corinne with possible locations. And so I know that she was working on that. I just haven't heard whether, because I think that that was a problem.
Oh,
Yes, I have small details on that
Okay,
too, as that's
perfect.
a Corinne and Troy thing, but I believe Corinne is going over to meet with some folks at the hospital tomorrow, and those conversations with the U of C students and with the mobile trades unit, those are progressing. But firm details I don't have just yet, but in speaking with her yesterday, like, we're moving forward.
okay. So with that, maybe at our next economic development meeting, if we could have an update on what's happening with our education portfolio, ensuring that U of C students have a place for their theory. My understanding was that they did have a classroom at the CETC, so just whether that's confirmed, where we're at with the mobile trades unit, and then any other education updates as well. Does anybody have anything else? Councillor Brooks?
This might not be a municipal thing, but I had a resident reach out to me yesterday near just south, the incident, whatever it is, was just south of the Marat subdivision. There was some fur and some blood, and they were wondering if there was an animal attack there. And if there is, they'd like to know what animal, and because, they have small children or pets, and so by the looks on administration's face, they don't know anything about it. So
No, I have not, and I live in that area, so I am not sure.
Now she's worried. I'm kind of in that area too.
okay. Anybody, any idea who I should ask?
I can check with our CPOs, or do you know about
I
it?
could speak a little,
Okay.
well, I don't know if
Okay.
it's what I'm thinking. I just know of something that is going on in that area. There was some foxes, a family of foxes living in a pile of dirt over there. I know that they are working on getting those foxes out of there right now, Fish and Wildlife, and there's our local trapper actually is working on, I think, relocating. So that's all I know. So maybe something potentially happened regarding the foxes. I did not hear anything, but.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like
Oh.
Farrell has an answer for
Farrell
you.
has my answer.
Yes, insider information. Someone I know there walks there every day and gives us updates on the weather, and there was a deer carcass over there.
Oh.
So it's not,
Mystery
their dog
solved.
was very excited.
So
Yeah.
was it
It just looked like normal, yeah. I would.
normal cougar attack?
No,
Normal,
coyotes.
like what?
No.
So are you asking for a full investigation? Autopsy?
The people that know about it would just like to know
No,
what happened.
no, nothing to be worried about.
Natural causes.
That doesn't
what
make me worry
we're
less.
hearing.
Did not hear it, but
To say you'll never know is either, so.
Do you have any other questions?
Did somebody shoot the deer? What was it? Like,
No, it's the animals are eating it. That's, you see the carcass, the animals are eating it. It's not.
okay, so there's a dead animal
Happens
there
all
and
the
we
time.
don't know why.
No, you
We
might have
don't
had a
know
heart
why.
attack. It's like-
Shelley will see if she can find some answers. Maybe Tom will
Thank you.
start up an investigative crew to dig into the deer mystery. It seems like Sergeant Ferry and everybody's dealing with the deer crime that's happening in the community. Maybe there's a pattern here. Some sort of serial deer, I don't know. Do you have anything, Counselor Finn?
No, my only comment was going to be that there was a Fox's Hill on 43rd, and it has been flattened.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully, they've been relocated safely. I do have a few things here. So we just, I had a couple emails come in. One was from a resident requesting a review of our tax treatment for the large residential parcels within the town limits. I know that this has come up before in the past. So maybe this is something, I'm not sure, Jen, if you've seen this as well, or if we want to have a conversation and look what that looks like. This was one of the annexed areas, so I'm not sure what it's zoned, if it's acreage or if it is. Do you think it's acreage? Yeah. Special urban reserve, like urban ag or something. So that might be a Connor and Elvira question on different tax procedures or we've talked about it before, like other municipalities.
I agree with that. It's just when you build a $2 million home, you kind of expect a big tax bill at the end of the year. They're probably getting preferential tax treatments, I would think, being a rural. Yeah, I'm assuming it's a residential ag or rural residential, or whatever they call it.
Yeah. So this is one of the areas that, was this annexed or not annexed? Like they were saying that when the town expanded, so I don't know.
It's a long time ago.
But they would still be in the grandfathered, oh, they wouldn't? Oh, because they subdivided. Okay, so this is the one, okay. So just for consideration that, and as well, I just wanted to talk about, I know that I had brought it up several times about if we could apply a tax to neglected business properties. And I just seen over the weekend that Edmonton hiked up taxes on neglected business properties. So I was just wondering if there would be an appetite for council to have this discussion. I know we just passed budget, but it's something that I would like to entertain. Yeah, vacant, neglected. I'm talking vacant and neglected, both. Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey. Oh, wow, look at the lineup.
I also saw that news report, and I listened carefully to it. They did, as part of the conversation, they used the word derelict as part of the definition of the neglected. So I think that could be a significant point. Like, there are certainly vacant properties that are well taken care
So
of.
at what point do we call them derelict, like they haven't been anyone in them for 5
They
years?
showed some photos that suggest that they would be very easily identified as derelict, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have you had your mic on? I'll go to Councillor Brooks first.
Thank you. So just in regards to the previous issue of the taxes on these annexed properties, just a thought, it might be prudent for us to have a different rate for people that don't, and I don't know this particular person's situation, but a different rate for people that don't have, town water and town sewer system and that sort of thing. Like, they don't have the same level of service. You build a $2 million home, you're absolutely right. You pay higher taxes, but as far as the tax rate goes, depending on what your level of municipal service is, it might be prudent for us to look at having a different rate for, different levels of service. That's it.
Good comment. Councillor, I'm going to go to Councillor Wheeler, then I don't know if Councillor Bohm, okay, and then I'll go to Councillor Clark.
Definitely interested in having the conversation. I think it's a really good thing for all of us to review and know what the different areas are and how they're set and how they kind of get ranked. I'm definitely interested in the conversation for vacant lots or derelict properties or anything else. I think our community appreciates when everything is taken care of. It can be empty, but it doesn't have to be run down. And then I'm interested in your conversation, but I think there's a balance because the water and sewer ultimately should be paying for itself. The municipal services like that, that's what the water bills are for. So if they're not getting a water bill because they're not on that, their municipal taxes should not be paying for the water and sewer. So.
Councillor Clark?
Yeah, that was my comment. Was just, the maintenance of those assets. Sorry, that was my comment too, is the maintenance of those assets comes from the actual utility bills rather than general taxation, so.
Should.
That was the word.
Should.
Should.
Yes, yep.
So is it fair that at a future GMP, we have a conversation around different rates on areas as well as exploring different taxes increases on business properties that are vacant? Okay, Ms. Stone, did you capture that? We can add it to a GMP for discussion there then. So next up, so there was that email that came in. I have on here, we talked about the Drayton Valley, the DV 100 coming. Did I hear somebody say that it may or may not be coming? I thought. Oh, it was in the planning stage. Okay, perfect. So I think that's fantastic. I know it's been a couple years, I think, since it came to our community. So I think any way that we can be doing to highlight support. I know there'll be some asks that'll be coming, I'm sure, about road closures and applications and all that coming in, just kind of keep us in the loop. And if there's any other in-kind donations, and then we can just be kind of sharing that as counselors and stuff. It's great to have that in the community. I know years ago, one of the things that were noted about the volunteers is that flowers and beautification in the community, saying that this does come in the fall. And if we can make sure that we're paying attention for all the visitors that are coming into the community, it really is an opportunity to highlight our community and sell Drayton Valley. And so people come in and we have that wow factor. I know one year that we had a lot of flowers, we had a lot of, the grass was cut and weeds were picked and everything down there, and it looked great. And then there was one year where some of our summer students left a little bit early and then the flowers didn't get watered. So then that came in as a bit of a concern. So just a little bit of heads up, we have a lot of time to get ahead of that. I did receive an invitation from the Premier for an event that's happening on April 15th in Edmonton, and Miss Erin has booked me for that, but it does say that we have 2 tickets for our municipality. So who would like to join me? I can send the information, and then I can send you the information. I'm trying to find it right now. It's for an economic development event that the Premier is hosting or part of in Edmonton on April 15th. So I'll forward that, and then if there's a member of council that would like to join me, just let me know. And if no one from council can go, then we'll extend it to administration. I'll send that. About the Edmonton, just a note too, Pat, you had brought up the El Dorado lands. We can talk a little bit about that more in closed. I just wanted to bring to your attention that I have a stack of about 200 to 300 letters on my desk. So I will hand these off to Troy in regards to that, opposing. So that's nice to see that the community is sending in stuff like that. So if anyone wants to have a look through, you can have a look through before I give these to Troy. I'll put those on his desk. Emergency health services. I'm not sure if everybody received the email about the contract for the ambulances. I had sent this to Mr. Thompson as well, is going to be expiring. I don't know, Tom, if you could maybe speak to it, like, and I guess the reason why is I'm just thinking, what do we need to do and how do we kind of get ahead of this? One of the things we're hearing is the lack of ambulances, right? And so yesterday when we were touring the hospital and, we talked about, that we could lose our scopes that are happening there. We could lose like just all the issues that we're having. And we said, maybe we become the training center for healthcare and emergency or whatever that is. So I don't know if you can add anything or if we can, maybe advocate or do anything here that would help. Okay, sure. Okay, maybe just, put it on your radar and then we can put it for a future meeting and we can have maybe more of a robust conversation of what that looks like. It was a pillar it wasn't a top pillar in our strat planning, but it was there and we kind of thought how and what is our role. So maybe just to make a note of that. I did receive another email from Victor Moroz, and this was a gentleman that we met at the State of the Union region, and he's now reached out to me, so I'm not quite sure why, but I might forward that to Jen and Troy. It's in regards to lands in the community, so I'm thinking, I don't know what, is he? Okay, so there's that, the hospital, and then that's kind of all I had for roundtable. Anything else? Any other emails that kind of came in? Anything? Okay, if nothing, then we'll move along. We do have Splash Park 10.2 on here. Ms. Kelsey is not available today, so we're going to push that to our next meeting just so she can answer those questions. We do have 10.3, which is weed spraying, grass cutting, and service delivery in the community. So we have Ms. Terry here this morning. So I think Deputy Wheeler, you had put this on. Do you have any questions before we hand the mic over to Ms. Terry?
No, I think it was just, I wanted just in general, while we're still not quite into that season, what you're looking at, how things are going, what the service level plan is, so we can, yeah, get ahead of it.
Absolutely. I'll read, my team's put together a little piece, so I'll read that to you guys. The Town of Drayton Valley Mowing Program is a key component of maintaining safe, functional, and visually appealing public spaces. Our operation covers a significant land area and are carried out using a combination of large-scale and detailed mowing equipment. Currently, our mowing program includes large equipment operations using tractors equipped with brush mowers and flail mowers. Crews maintain approximately 1,253 acres of land with these pieces of equipment. The small equipment operations using small front mount mowers, push mowers, and string trimmers, weed eaters, crews maintain an additional 294 acres. These areas include walkways, small parks, landscaped areas, and detailed spaces where precision work is required. To ensure consistency and maintain service levels across the community, all mowing areas are organized into operational groupings, large parks, small parks, pathways, and open spaces. This allows crews to follow a structured, efficient route system. Service level standards under normal operating conditions. The town aims to complete a full mowing cycle on an 8 to 10 day rotation. However, it is important to note that the rotation may be impacted by several factors, including weather conditions, rainfall, rapid growth periods, equipment breakdowns or maintenance requirements, and staffing availability, as well as weeds. So like when you get the dandelions coming up, it takes us a lot longer to maintain those spaces. And then we're continuously trying to make it more efficient, but yes, our target is 8 to 10 days for mowing. Any questions?
Any questions, Deputy Wheeler?
In terms of the areas that we do maintain or cut, has anyone ever looked at what's actually designated as like environmental reserve versus park space and what we mow and maintain?
No, I don't generally we don't as our team. Planning would. There is some areas by Weyerhaeuser that we know are environmental reserves and things like that, so we don't touch those. The ones we do focus on are going to be our right-of-ways, because we want to be able to get to and access our utilities within them, and all of our town-owned lands. So the bigger parcels that there's nothing built on, we maintain those as well. But I haven't really looked into that. I can, if you'd like, but.
Yeah, it's worth a conversation. There's no rush on it, but I think if things are designated as environmental reserves, they're actually supposed to be left natural and with trees and stuff. And it also takes a lot of time and cost to mow the grass and do things. So I think for sure, if they're designated, then we should not be mowing them or doing such things. So there might not be very many pockets of that, but.
I'm fairly certain. I know that we have to maintain a 3-meter setback to creeks and around any bodies of water, so our storm drains or storm ponds and things like that. So, and drainage ditches, things like that. We do have to maintain them by weed whacking and things like that, so you still get that proper drainage, but most times we're keeping that setback because of those requirements as well, so.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'm just wondering about the weed spraying. Last year, it was very contentious within the town.
Yes.
Whether we're spraying or not spraying. And so I would like to have a conversation with this council and see what you're planning on spraying, how much, why. And I'm sure you went through all that last year, but.
Yeah, so with weed spraying, the dandelions are broadleaf. It's really hard on our mowers. So the dandelions in particular, generally what happens is they start kicking seeds and those seeds suck into our mower intakes. So we're constantly stopping to clean those. The blades wear quicker, so it takes us a lot longer because you got to go slower. It is contentious and we respect that, but the product we're using is safe for these spaces. They're only targeting what we are targeting to, which is the broadleaf. And we use a product called Trillion. We do a communication piece to the public, as well as we sign the areas. And typically, depending on the day, once it's dry, it's safe for use. However, we like to try to provide that 24 hours, just remain off for 24 hours, just to be safe. And our staff are highly trained in applying this, so we're safe when we're doing it, and we're hoping to maintain the safety of the public as well. There's very specific times that we can and can't, so it is very limited on how much we can actually target in a year. We only want to do it when the weeds are actually actively growing, which happens for the broadleaf. Generally, it's in your spring and your fall. And then you want to try to hit twice in 1 year if you can. But you got to take into factor wind. You got to take into factor a lot of things. I know a lot of people were concerned about the bees and things like that. The product we use is triggered to things that photosynthesize, and so the bees aren't going to be impacted by that. And because we have a lot of flowering trees and a lot of properties that obviously have their own dandelions, they're always going to have a sufficient amount of food and to pollinate and everything. But yeah, we're always open to hear what your guys' comments are and whether or not that's something you want us to continue or not. But
Do you have a general cost, not off the top of your head, but on what it actually did cost last year? And then would you say it actually made a difference? So if we go this year, we're expecting less dandelions in those parks?
yes, correct. We did start seeing the die-off come fall. We also noticed some areas that were missed because you could see a strip of dandelions that were growing. So we'd have to go back and hit those again with the newer operators. It was a little challenging for sure. We didn't get as much as we would have liked done, of course, just because of weather conditions. It was a wetter season, so it was a lot harder to get out there and do it when that target time was good. So we completed West Valley, so all the ball diamonds and things. We did a few other parks, Aspen View, that soccer field was a good training area right by the Omniplex. We didn't get as much as we would have liked done, but those were the areas we did focus on. And we want to see what that looks like this year and whether or not it was successful. We're not going to get them all. We know we're not going to get them all. We're always going to have them coming up. It's just a matter of controlling them a bit.
Yeah, I just want to make sure at some point it seems almost futile if no one else in the entire town really is ultimately spraying. They are everywhere. They will just reseed and be thousands the next year to spend time and energy. If there is a cost balance between the equipment maintenance and the time it takes to mow and stuff, then that's worth a conversation, but.
I'll put that together for you. I didn't for this because.
That's just fine.
And get you that information for sure.
Gravel, we're just going to gravel the whole town. No, we're not going to do that. April Fools.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Just a couple questions additional. How many summer students do we have that'll be coming on board?
So this year we did 22 for Public Works, two for utilities, 2 for Public Works for pothole and road maintenance and line painting, and then the remaining 18 are parks.
Oh, perfect. And then speaking of potholes, I know that this weather has
Challenge.
Yeah, been definitely challenging, and I know that people are getting a little bit frustrated already, and it's making it difficult because of the snow that we keep getting. With that being said, you had sent out an email maybe a week or two ago, just kind of giving us a breakdown of what that looks like. Would you be able to just highlight out of that maybe just a couple key points? You don't have to do it right now, but just for us to maybe be putting on our pages, to be sharing and communicating, just, you know, whether we're putting out a couple posts, but just some of those, just so people know that it is on our radar and it's, rather than that lengthy document, because they'll get this far and then they won't read it.
For sure. I know that I've got the team strategizing today on that that post to go out next week, so.
Oh, perfect.
We'll share, because we are starting to see it, I'm hoping if the weather doesn't change again, some sustained longer periods of warmer weather. So we should be able to tackle a lot more. So we're hoping to get some communications out next week. We'll final strategy this afternoon on how our post is going to go out, and then we can share that with all of you to share as well.
Okay, perfect. And then you've identified like some key areas like you did last year, like there's some pretty big holes out there that might have to have a bigger or more of extensive repair.
Correct.
You've identified those areas too that we could also be communicating?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. They're a part of, they're a part of this list, yeah, for sure.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions around the weeds, grass cutting, potholes, service level? No? Okay. I did have one other thing I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions about or wanted to talk about. We did receive some information that the electoral boundaries have changed. I don't know if everybody had seen that document or that briefing. I guess some of the questions around it is that came out last Thursday. So as of last Thursday, do we have a new MLA? And I think that's what everyone was asking at Spring Leaders Caucus, was the assumption that with that would be now MLA Getson would be our new MLA. I don't know if anybody else has any information.
I Googled it. and
Oh, you
won't-
Googled it?
Yeah, it won't shift until the next election. So the boundaries are still current. Everything is current until October of 2027, or if they
So
happen to
next
call
year.
something earlier. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah, good to be aware of. Hopefully there'll be something
yeah.
we can share just for general information.
Yeah, even that map or something,
Yeah.
right, that we're changing, we're with Stony Plain there now.
Start schmoozing them now.
Well, we already are, where there are like twin town, we're working with them, so it's great. Okay, anything else anybody have for council items roundtable? If not, then we have three information items this morning. 11.1 is the Brazeau Foundation meeting minutes from the February 26, 2026 meeting. 11.2 is Alberta Community Partnership Program. 11.3 is a minister letter for the approval of the 2026 fire training. And with that, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion to accept or receive these as information? Okay, let's go with Councillor Brooks.
I move to receive the Brazeau Foundation meeting minutes, February 26, 2026, the Alberta Community Partnership Program Minister Approval Letter, and the Minister's Letter 2026 Fire Training for information.
Oh, thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And is our member of council that would like to move us now into closed section under the Act 34-1C? I keep wanting to say deputy council. I'm like looking at Councillor Finn.
I move that council move into closed session at 10:47 a.m. in accordance with the Access to Information Act, Section 34-1C.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, so we are officially out of closed. That motion was made by Councillor Brooks. We have nothing left on the agenda for this morning for the regular council meeting of April 1st. I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Easter and a safe long weekend, and I will adjourn our meeting at 11:58 a.m.